Welcome, everyone. What is going on to Pardon the Disruption this week? We have a very sassy panel today, and we are excited for the amount of sarcasm that is coming out of the gate. I am your host, Matthew Potter. I am short sale guy, hedge fund connection, and co-founder of the family tree over at Real Brokerage. If I can help you with your business in any way whatsoever, reach out to me. Let's connect. Real quick, a couple announcements. We are exclusively on Pardon the Disruption's YouTube channel now, so go over there, subscribe so you can get involved in the chat, get your question featured on our show. Go ahead and like and subscribe and share it with your friends, family, and even foes if you want to. Real quick, going to go ahead and break down how we do things around here. We have 5 pre-selected questions for our panelists, 45 seconds to go ahead and answer. After that, 2 minutes to go ahead and chop it up. Points will be awarded off of best answers or, honestly, who I like the most today. And then after that, we have a 6th question that will come from our audience. So go ahead and get that in the YouTube chat so that we can go ahead and get it featured and have our panelists go ahead and answer it. We're going to start off with introductions today. Coming to us from Texas, King Closer, RJ Bates III. Introduce yourself, boss.
What's up, guys? RJ Bates III from Fort Worth, Texas, Titanium Investments. And yes, I did defend my crown this past week at the Closers Olympics. Appreciate everybody that's reached out and sent me DMs and messages. It's been an awesome experience, and looking forward to today's show.
Absolutely. Your tiara has never looked better, RJ. We appreciate it. Next up, coming to us, Richmond, Virginia, CJ. Introduce yourself.
Chris Jefferson, Richmond, VA, Charged Up University, the U. Shout out to the Miami Hurricanes. As RJ Bates I want to take the moment to give RJ congratulations on a well-earned win in the Closers Olympics. I saw him sweating under the ball cap when it got down to about 7-8 minutes. All right. He started getting a bit nervous that he wasn't going to pull it out, but he figured it out and got it done. Jimmy, pleasure to see you. Potter, as always. Steve, what's up? I'm excited to get into it again another week.
Absolutely. We are happy to have you here. You already intimidated RJ's video camera to just go ahead and shut off during that intro, so amazing on that. Next up, we have none other than Steve Wu-Trang. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
C-Trang Real Estate Disruptors, and we help people close more sales. It was unfortunate. RJ was able to defend his title. I was rooting against him really hard, but sadly he came through as the best closer. You know, as I was watching it, I was like, did he really win, or did everyone else just kind of lose? I'm not really sure. But congratulations, RJ. You defended your title.
Awesome. Last, certainly not least, coming with 100% angst today, we have Jimmy the Bull Vreeland coming to us from Missouri. Introduce yourself, boss.
What's up, Potter? Jimmy Vreeland, Cash Flow Tactics, Vreeland Capital. I'm here to defend my title. I know I'm not here every week, but every time I show up, I win. And then, since this is a merit-based system, for my victories, I get invited. See you again in 6 weeks, Jimmy. So, here to roll in Siegel shit all over all of you, and then see you again in 6 weeks.
That's how we do it around here. That's why we love having Jimmy on here. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into it with our first question. Let's go ahead and start it out. When rates eventually go down, who are the people that will look into buying a new home? Start us off, RJ.
I'm going to go with all the people that did the refis back when the rates were at 2.5, 2.6. Like right now, they're kind of like, hey, why would I go sell my house and buy something new? I'm sitting pretty. Like, I can't even go buy anything. I can't upgrade because essentially I'd be paying, with the interest rates being so high, there's no chance. I can't afford it. So I think when the rates eventually do go down, those people are going to be sitting on a ton of equity. And then they're going to look at it and say, hey, now's our opportunity to upgrade. So those are going to be the people that capitalize at that point in time.
Very nice. Good thought there. Eventually somebody, I think we talked about this before, it's got to suck bad enough to move. And maybe that's when all of a sudden you go ahead and make the move. All right. What are your thoughts on it, CJ?
RJ's right, man. It's going to be all the trade uppers, all the folks who Didn't get $1 million house when the mortgage was like $5,600 to $6,000. Now it's $9,800. Don't ask me how I know, but they're in this position where, they can't even go get a new house because it cost almost double what it would have cost 3-4 years ago. So the people that are looking for newer homes, they're looking newer quality, newer design, and don't want to take the time to renovate their current properties themselves or need more space. These people are going to be out in droves, I think, when mortgage kind of rates stabilize to get mortgages for sure.
For sure. Isn't a milli like entry level in Virginia now these days? Like, I don't even know.
Perhaps, man. Perhaps.
Home of affordable housing.
There we go. We worked it in. We haven't even been 5 minutes in. I love it. All right, Steve, what about you? What are your thoughts? Who's buying?
It's everyone that owns a home. I think that it's not just people moving up, but I think even just moving down, right? Like if you got an interest rate of 3% and you're looking at 6%, whether you're moving up, moving down, it's hard to make financial sense. So everyone that's been opting out of this real estate market because their interest rates are significantly lower than today's current rates, those are the people, right? I mean, you go from that, it doesn't even have to come down to 3, right? If it comes down to 4.5. Now it makes sense to move up, move down. But I would say specifically anyone that owns a home with an interest rate less than 4%.
All right. I like that you threw in the move up and move down because that does always occur. All right, Jimmy, what are your thoughts on this?
I don't think interest rates are necessarily going to go down, and I think the people who are going to be looking to buy are the people who are looking to buy right now. Like there's still 30% less inventory. People are still searching for houses. Like at least in the Midwest, it's still a seller's market. So I think it's going to be the same people who are buying right now. But I think we are in an era of the new normal, and that, because the other thing, when interest rates go down, prices are going to skyrocket again. So it's like these people who have a 3% interest rate, let's say they could get another 3% interest rate, but the price is up 10 to 15% more. They're not going to be getting a deal. So the short answer to the question for me, it's like the people who are moving right now are people who want a new house, who they don't have to move, but they definitely are reaching that stage in life where they are going to move. And I think it's going to be the same people when rates go down. Because I still think people are buying now or getting a deal. Because the second rates go down, I think prices are skyrocketing again.
So I think you're right. I think prices will go up, right? But even if prices goes up 20%, payments will still be lower. And, the thing that we finally figured out in the last few years is people buy solely on payments. That's almost like the only consideration, right? The price itself is irrelevant. It's like, what can I afford per month? So I think even if prices go up 20%, if rates go from 6 to 3 or 6 to 3.5, you're still better off monthly cash flow wise, monthly output.
I'm really glad that Steve kind of came back with a rebuttal there after his first answer was literally every single human being will buy a new home. I thought we were getting the bad version of 420 Steve, where it's like just everyone.
Yeah,
every
shout out
human
to 420
being.
Steve, man. Shout out to 420
Everyone
Steve.
that's still 3.5, right? That's sitting on the sidelines.
No, Steve took the words out of my mouth. People don't buy based on value. You never hear home buyers, retail buyers say, "Oh, I can't wait to get just an incredible deal full of equity." They don't say that. You know what they do say? "Oh, can I get gray painted walls, stainless steel appliances, the hottest design trends that I see on HGTV and all these BS magazines? Is there any way I can get that for like $1,500 a month?" Potter, Trang, y'all are realtors. Y'all know these conversations, man. This is how people talk. Nobody's saying like, "Oh, geez,
100%.
man, like the value of houses went from 700 to 800,000. That sucks so bad." They're like, "Wait, how much did the payment go up?" "Oh, $100. Oh, cool. Like that works. Yeah, let's trade up."
I mean,
Did you guys hear I heard the objection all the time in like 2020, 2021, like, "Hey, I'm going to buy when prices cool off a little bit." And then, the prices cooled off, but then interest rates skyrocket. So those people are still, they either sucked it up and bought, or they're still stuck.
But that goes back to like, they don't know what they're saying, right? Like that makes logical sense, assuming everything else stays the same. But they're talking about prices. But like, if you look at the traditional home buying process, is like, "Hey, I want to buy a house for $300,000. Okay, cool. How'd you come up with that number?" "Because my loan officer says that's what I can qualify for."
That's what I'm qualified for.
Right?
I think RJ will appreciate Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was gonna say that's the reason why we have phrases like "buy till you can drive" or "drive till you can buy." Right? Like, if you can't afford to live in Phoenix, then we're gonna buy a house. Is it 20 minutes away from Phoenix? Is it 40 minutes away from Phoenix? 50 minutes? You drive till you can afford.
Yeah, and I think that Jimmy's question, I know RJ Bates will appreciate this. The more you know, the more you realize the media machine at work. When you start communicating with people and they just talk in talking points from the news, that's when you start to quickly realize, like, oh, okay, people just straight lack education on how things function. But then when push comes to shove, just like Steve said, they go to that loan officer, they deferred the student loans. All right. They just got their brand new car a couple months back. All right, everything's all buttered up, and they go to the loan officer, and the loan officer says, "Hey, you're approved for $500,000." You know what most people say? 95% of people say, "Hey, I'm going to go get a $500,000 house," and that's a bad decision. That's a terrible decision, but that's just the truth.
I know we're early on, but I just have to say it because Jimmy's here. It always cracks me up when he talks on a national level when he says, buyers are talking about when prices cool down. In St. Louis, they cooled down from 12,000 to 11,000.
Dude, when he said it was a seller's market in St. Louis, I'm like, what is that? In my head, I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
well, it means
it cools down from 10,000 to 9,000.
What are you like your guys' markets? We're still down 30% inventory. Like stuff. If you look at the report, like stuff, the average days on market is still like 3 weeks.
That's because 30% of your market is burnouts.
But Jimmy, that's the point, though, right? The reason why there's low inventory is because people that have good interest rates are opting out of the market.
Right.
So when the interest rates go down, those people opt back into the market, and so that's kind of what we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's be honest before we move on. I mean, look, if your house is worth $50,000, I mean, it's arbitrary, the difference in 3 to 6%. I mean, let's just be realistic here.
Right.
So if you're in the St. Louis market, I mean, you're not going to get so much impact. When you start going, let's be honest. When you start going, above probably around $500,000, $350 for some people, $500 for RJs, right? You start going over 500,000, then the difference in interest rate starts to really matter. But if I'm buying sub $100,000, I'm just hoping Potter put in stainless steel. That's what I'm
always. Come on now, you know I deliver.
No,
it's mandatory.
I agree with you
if you don't have stainless steel in your rehab, if you're putting white or black appliances in your your rehab, you're not a trustworthy individual.
I would never do anyone dirty like that. Like, dude,
yeah, you're not a trustworthy individual.
Your character.
Yeah, if you're putting in white appliances and black appliances in 2023. Nah, I can't trust you, man.
Look, I'm gonna be real with you. Like I did sketchy things when I was younger. I've moved past that. I'm only into stainless or better now. So
there you go, man.
No, this has been a great question, and it's also super cool to see because we're spread all over the country. We got Jimmy out in Missouri, we got RJ in Texas, we got CJ in Virginia, and Steve and I here in Phoenix. It's cool to see how different it truly is and different insights that occur all the way around. I will say this, CJ and Steve honestly both brought the really great points on this one. I'm going to go ahead and throw each one of you a point on that. Everybody had great answers and great insight, but I got to give you guys credit. The other thing, Steve, just so you know, I'm a helpful guy over here. It's drive till you qualify. I have this conversation with people, so it's drive till you qualify.
Listen, I haven't worn a realtor hat in a while. I haven't worn a
calm down, King Closer
hat in a few years.
All right, fair enough. I'm here to help support, Steve. That's what I'm here for. All right, next up. In 3 games for Inter Miami, Lionel Messi scored 5 goals and assisted once. What would you define as a successful onboarding week if you hired a highly talented recruit? Start us off, CJ.
I got 45 seconds, but first and foremost, the first thing that came to mind was like if I just stopped what I was doing and went to sell Cutco knives again or something. I'd be the Lionel Messi of Cutco knives. I'd just make so much money. It'd be insane. If you've got somebody that comes in that's talented, what does that look like in terms of onboarding? It's somebody that comes in that can crush it naturally, and they're begging you to be trained. They're begging you to get better. They're not accepting, oh, I've got a 40% close rate. That's incredible. No, the question is, how do I get to 45%? How do I continue to improve? That's what I'm looking for from somebody that comes in that's a rock star. Everybody can get to a certain place based off natural talent, but eventually there's a point where natural talent tends to run out, and you've got to work on building on top of that at some point as well.
Great insights. Appreciate that, CJ. All right, Steve, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm looking for someone that scares me. I'm looking for someone's like, God, this one is a diamond in the rough that I got to do everything I got to maintain, right, to keep. And so I'm looking at someone that's absorbing everything quickly. Like, you're coaching them and they're just soaking it up. They're hitting the phones and they're doing everything you've asked them to do, and they're locking up contracts. So I think you're looking at the coachability, you're looking at the confidence, you're looking at the performance. So if they're coming out and they're locking up 2 contracts in the first week, kind of like, Messi is just like playing with kids over there in MLS, right? They're just locking up contracts first week out. They're asking great questions, and you're seeing like, man, I've got to stay ahead and make sure I give this guy everything he needs to be successful, because the moment I take it easy, this guy might leave, right? That's what I'm looking for as an incredible onboarding.
It's great to finally get some roundabout praise from you, Steve. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Jimmy, what are your thoughts?
Kind of what the other guys are saying. I like 8 appointments. I love 3 contracts in the first week. But then for a successful week for the organization, let's say we do get the guy that CJ's talking about, that he's begging for more, that he's needing more, that we as an organization have that coaching, have the resources and the processes to say, oh, you want to study this next? Here's the manual, here's the SOP for that, here's how we do this. Like, that's how I would judge our organization, is if we hired a beast, could we feed that beast? Or is he already bored, already thinks he's outclassed the organization and is ready to move on?
He just stole my answer.
I mean,
no, I think I embellished your answer a little bit. I think it was a good combination of both you and CJ.
It's actually called improved. He improved on your answer. Thank you for that,
little
Jimmy.
Finer distinctions there, Steve.
See, and this is the great part. Now RJ gets to improve on everybody's answer. All right, RJ, what's your thoughts?
I think when you use the word highly talented recruit, I mean, you look at people that deal with this on a yearly basis, coaches like Dabo Swinney, Nick Saban, that have been successful for decades now. They come in and they make sure that those recruits understand the core values of the organization. They understand that the systems that we're going to use, these are the processes that we have here, and they understand how to do their job. Yeah, they're highly talented, but I think that first week when we're talking about onboarding, it's less about them performing and it's more about them understanding their role in the organization, because a lot of times when you have a highly talented individual, they'll try to fix things, and that's not necessarily their job. Their job is to come in and do a specific job. That's what we brought them in to do. Case in point, on a football team, you don't want your quarterback trying to teach the defense how to play defense. Their job is to play quarterback and do their job there. I think that's what I would want from a highly talented recruit, is to understand our core values and the systems and processes we have in place.
So I think RJ's answer totally sucked, but I would just want to put out there that I would totally hire him, because I do consider him to be a superstar recruit.
There you go. I get what RJ's saying, but I think there's also something to be said that if somebody's got that level of talent, I think there has to be some acceptance in business, at least, that eventually that person's either going to go elsewhere for greener pastures, or they're going to believe so much in themselves at some point. Because look, to be a rock star of that magnitude, you got to have some self-confidence and self-belief. I've become more inclined after 13 years of business to also look at things of, how can I support this person in their own journey, in their own process? I'd much rather than somebody skip out on me and go work for somebody else or go out and do their own thing. I'd much rather say, hey, Potter, look, let's work something out. Let's work out some sort of deal split. I've already got the resources and things in place. I've been wanting to expand and go into another market. Why don't you go head up that market? You take the lion's share of the business. I'm going to provide the resources, the SOPs, the training. I'll take a split as a result. And this is your shop, your show, man. I think you're prepared and ready to run it if we've already trained that person up to that point.
The question said a highly talented recruit. It didn't say someone that came in with a proven track record. Yeah, Messi does. That's not the question.
Look, to be a highly talented recruit, you've got to have a track record. If you're a highly talented recruit, you use Dabo Swinney and Nick Saban as an example. If I'm a 5-star recruit coming to play Alabama, bro, I got a track record, dog. I got a serious track record. I got film that shows that I'm fucking elite. I can play in any school that I want. That's why I'm going to Alabama, bro. I got a track record. You know what also happens, RJ, that you didn't mention? When you're that type of generational talent, let's use Mike Vick. I'm in Virginia, right? Virginia Tech. When Vic hit campus, you don't think they changed the playbook to fit him? When Jalen Hurts last year went on a tear in Philadelphia, they didn't make adjustments to how they played the offense.
But they gave him a playbook, and they said these are the plays we're going to run. They didn't say,
but it was the playbook
Mike,
was built around him.
Mike,
Potter, they're doing it again. They're arguing on the smallest distinction that bores the whole
do
audience.
what you want, Mike.
Include me.
No, listen, this is the truth. It's the truth. They make adjustments based on the player. They provide a playbook, but it's built around that particular talent.
CJ, here's something more interesting. That deal you talked about, like somebody going on their own at a new market, how much of that new organization, how much equity would you want in that for the
probably somewhere around 20% for sure.
20%? Would you bring cash to the table too? Would you pay for the marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as I could get a rider and get my cash back out first, 100%. If I believe in the person to that extent, which I mean I've done this before.
Would you structure that as like a private loan? The cash?
Nah, man, I got to be on the docks for equity, baby.
Hey, CJ, let's talk after, man. I got this great idea, and I'll take some cash, and you can have 20%. All right.
Hey, Potter, I'm going to start a new podcast called Splitting Hairs, and I'm going to invite CJ and RJ to argue about the most boring issues ever.
Oh man, that was a great round. Glad to hear that CJ only wants 20%. Holler at your boy Potter over
Much
here.
more interesting topic, CJ.
Like
No,
for real,
I agree.
I think that's gonna be question 6 today. That was a great round. I'm not gonna lie. I love the splitting of the hairs over here. I am gonna say CJ and RJ both had absolutely killer points there. I'm actually checking to see what we got going on YouTube here. What do we got? Ooh. RJ takes the point. RJ's got people in the crowd. Where's the U, CJ? Where are they?
That's a fair question, man. It's a fair question.
His VA's worked all weekend at the Closers Olympics.
All right, real quick, before we get into question number 3, I'm going to toss it over to Steve for a message from our sponsor today.
All right. So today's Pardon the Disruption is brought to you by our friends over at Bateman Collective. Let me tell you guys, these guys are money at PPC with over $62 million in revenue generated for their clients over the last 12 months. They're not messing around, and get this, they're aiming to generate a jaw-dropping $1 billion for their clients. Talk about ambitious. Plus, they take a data-driven approach, so you know that they take this stuff seriously. Here's the best part. You get a free strategy consultation with them. So why not give Bateman Collective a shot? Let them help you hit it big. Check them out, Bateman Collective /PTD, BatemanCollective.com/PTD. I use them. We've got 2 contracts with them right now that I think will probably average somewhere around $80K per deal. So I'm pretty happy with them. So I would highly recommend everyone check them out.
Very nice, very nice. All right, y'all. We're going to get into question number 3. Many fans like the Oakland Athletics asking the owners to sell the team. What would you say as the owner if when you walked into a locker room, everyone said, sell the team? Go ahead and start us off, RJ.
I mean, this is a very unique question. I mean, if you're walking into the locker room, I guess these are your players are saying to sell the team. Your fans are saying to sell the team. I mean, at that point in time, you really need to, I guess, have some self-reflection as to what you're doing as a leader. If everyone's saying that, and yeah, I mean, the Oakland Athletics have been pathetic, going all the way back to the 90s. You know, I mean, so I think at that point in time, you do need to figure out, hey, am I going to make the changes, or am I just going to make everyone that's involved in this organization miserable? But the other part of me is hey, if you really want to be the owner, go start your own team. Figure it out. I got here for a reason, but you do need to make sure everyone's on board with you for the future.
I do absolutely love, just go start your own team if you think it's that easy. Like, just go. Get out of here. All right, CJ, what are your thoughts?
Look, I say this as a current Commanders fan. Rest in peace, Dan Snyder's ownership. You sell the team, bro. I mean,
Respectfully.
and I say that with all due respect. If Dan's got people watching, okay, look, if the reality of the situation is your players hate you, the fans certainly hate you. Owners in the league also can't stand you. You do what Danny did. You take a multi-billion-dollar return on your investment and you go get down the road and go find something else to do. Because at some point far before that, you lost the culture, you lost the front office, and you lost the locker room. And if it's at that point, then you're past being able to repair. And you got to let it go, take a return, and get down the road, man.
Good insight, good thoughts on that one. Definitely. All right, Steve. What about you? What are your thoughts?
I'm going to see what the locker room's offer is. I mean, you look at the NBA right now, these guys are making so much freaking money they could buy the team, right? But I'm going to talk to the team members in our office like, all right, well, what's your offer? And if the offer's no good, I'm going to fire everybody. I mean, because if they don't want to be here, don't be here. Right? Like, no one's making you, like, there's no, like, what's the word I'm looking for? There's not indentured servitude, right? There's no contractual obligations. If you don't want to be here, get your ass out of here. So I would either solicit an offer from them of what are you guys willing to pay, right? And you guys get the IP and everything else, or otherwise pack your bags, go somewhere else. There's nothing requiring you to be here.
People often ask me what's wrong with me. And I think that right there, it's been hanging around Trang for, 10 plus years. Like there's absolutely emotional detachment occurring around here. All right. Next up, Jimmy, what are your thoughts?
I mean, professional sports franchises, they just print money. And like to get into that special cabal of owners in these leagues, like how could you, I don't know how you could mess it up because you just print money. Like, especially in baseball where there's, I forget what it's called, but it's kind of like communism. But like the Kansas City Royals have to exist so the Yankees have somebody to beat on. And so the Yankees pay the Royals part of their TV.
It's a rev share.
It's a rev share.
Yeah, they get TV rev share.
Yeah. So if it was me as a baseball owner, I would sit there and breathe and just collect checks. And I would probably do whatever I had to do to make people not so angry. But I would collect my rev share and I just would not make people angry. Now, if we're talking about a business like ours, and I walked into the office, my team's like, you got to go, you got to sell. Like, I'm a pretty big dick, but I'm not as big as Steve. I mean, I would need to do some genuine soul searching. If the whole team was like, hey, we're doing great here, we need you to move on. Like, that would break my heart.
Jimmy's the guy, that's at the fair, that jumps in the dunk tank and waves around and like says stuff to people that walk by and tells them to throw a ball to see if they can dump him in the water. I mean, to hang out on a team that hates you, would suck. I think you'd sell it and do it again.
But look at the Lions,
I agree
right?
with a business like ours, but if you were collecting MLB checks, I would just be nice to everyone. I'd be exceptionally mediocre, like the Royals. Because this is a complete tangent, but I had a buddy who worked on the stadium when they built their stadium and was friends with the owner's rep. And the dude went through the numbers, and it's like it's more profitable with rev sharing to be mediocre than to be like an elite Yankee style.
Yeah, so you got to pay to get people on the team.
I mean, let's be honest. The owner of the Oakland Athletics has sat there and just collected checks and with no fucks given either. I mean, basically, they've taken the same stance as the mayor of San Francisco with their homeless and their commercial buildings. They basically just flip each other off like, we don't care about anybody. We're just going to let it all burn to hell. So,
but watch me go to the bank and cash this check.
So you guys are shocked that I would fire everybody. Looks like you guys would just embrace it. Like you guys would do like a kumbaya, hug everybody.
What, are we talking about a real estate wholesaling business? Or are we talking about professional?
I mean,
I think
that's different.
So what would y'all do?
Like, you're gonna have to make changes.
Yeah, I know what RJ would do. RJ would fire everybody, but Cassie, because he can't. right? He'd fire everybody, and then I'd wake up
Shout out
tomorrow
to Cassie.
morning, and at the top of my feed it'd say 50 days, 50 nights, 50 flights. And he'd be cold calling until his eyes started fucking bleeding. And in 50 days, he'd be back on his feet with a new team, rocking and rolling, getting paid again. I'm not mad at that.
Oh man, I told you guys you're in for it today with this lineup. This is amazing. I gotta go with my emotionally detached partner in crime here in the desert, Steve, just for an absolutely brutal answer on this of just fire everybody, like just burn it all to the ground.
Options.
Steve
There'd
literally
be no soul searching if this happened.
no, Steve, no, absolutely not. I can vouch for that.
What
I've known
soul?
him. I've known Steve for 15 years. You gotta start with a soul, brother. All right. Next up, we got question number 4. We have, what are your thoughts on people who don't wholesale but teach others how to wholesale? Oh hell, I didn't even see this question earlier. All right, start us off, Steve.
I mean, I feel it's criminal. I think that if you're going to teach wholesaling and you don't wholesale, you absolutely must disclose that you don't wholesale. And if people will buy your product after you disclose, I'm teaching how to do a business that I don't do, then have at it. But that's not generally how it's disclosed. Generally, it's like, look, here are my pre-qualifications. I've got a green Lamborghini, a nice watch, and 150,000 followers. That's why you should buy my coaching program. And if that's what's working for you, I think that is grossly unethical, borderline criminal. But if you disclose it, then it's fine.
I feel like Steve might be, taking a couple shots here. I like it. I'm good with it. All right, Jimmy, what are your thoughts?
I think it's depending on who you're coaching. Like 80% of coaching is just holding people accountable. So if someone's actively wholesaling or not actively wholesaling, I don't think it really matters. I think it'd be very hard to be hard charging, wholesaling, like having a really great wholesaling organization and a really great coaching organization. I know it can be done, but it's very difficult. I think if somebody commits to coaching, then they're going to have to take the gas off of their wholesaling business. So if I was a newbie and a student, I would like someone who had wholesaled in the past, but if they weren't winning Closers Olympics or like showing up, being the best wholesaler in the market, I don't think it's a big deal. I would expect that coach to hold me accountable though. When you buy a coach, that's really what you're buying.
That's a great insight, Jimmy. I dig that. The gas pedal, brake pedal.
Thanks, Potter, because generally that's why I show up and win. Great insight.
Hey, look at this. He's trying to get that golden egg five pointer right here. All right. What about you, RJ?
You remember that scene in Deadpool when he gets blown up and he loses his legs? And then the next scene, he's sitting next to Blind Al, and she doesn't know that he has little tiny baby legs, and he makes Blind Al touch his baby legs, and she's like, oh my God, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's what this would be like. You're hiring Blind Al to be your coach. This coach doesn't know what they're talking about. They don't wholesale. How can they teach you to do it? And honestly, it can't be criminal because you're the dumbass that paid them to teach you to do something they don't even do themselves. So that's on you. You should be locked up for being that fucking stupid. So it's on you, not on them.
Damn. Getting feisty down.
Man, give this guy one belt and he just loses his mind.
Woo! He's got 2 belts, to be fair.
3.
3. Sorry. Let's not discount the accomplishments over here of, titanium. All right. What about you, CJ? What are your thoughts?
I think it just depends on context. I tend to agree with Jimmy a bit. Here's the reality, right? People who have never wholesaled before are selling wholesale courses. I think that's pretty crazy. I think selling something or a product or some sort of coaching and teaching people from where you're at or where you've been, I don't think there's really anything, wrong with that. There was a time in my life where I did, but I don't necessarily anymore. What I care more about that hasn't been mentioned is what results do they actually have, Like, what lives have they actually changed? What student results can they actually produce? If they're producing people that are becoming successful in the business, then I think that's a great thing. If it's just a money grab and they're riding around on private jets and Lamborghinis and making reels all day, and they have no student success to speak for, I think that becomes extremely problematic. So I'm kind of torn on that. I think it could be answered within context, but I think Jimmy kind of made a good point there for sure.
So I think what Jimmy's talking about, though, is a business coach, right? If you're a business coach and you want to coach a wholesaler, that's fine. But if you're a wholesale coach and you don't wholesale, let me show you this direct mail piece that worked for me back in 2009. Like, what the hell are you coaching them on if you're not in the streets? The one thing we see consistently is change is constantly happening, and change is happening faster and faster. How can you coach on someone on something that you know nothing about, right? Like the 10 DLC for texting, right? These are just little tiny changes. Hey, now you got to change your phone numbers, or you got to do a health check on your phone number every single day. 2 years ago, you didn't even care about the health of your phone number. So these are the things that change in business in real time. That if you're not wholesaling, how can you possibly coach someone else on how to do something you don't know how to do yourself?
But Steve, a newbie is not going to have that issue.
Yeah, they're just driving for dollars.
Yeah, like I think one of the greatest coaches in the space right now is Brewer, but like
he has a pretty good wholesaling operation.
Yeah, but if a newbie walked into Brewer's organization,
won't resonate.
It would melt their brain. Like when I go jiu-jitsu and I roll with a black belt, I just get my ass whooped. I don't learn anything. Maybe I end a little tougher, but when I get coached by another blue belt or a dude who's just a smidge better than me, I get the greatest results.
But he's a blue belt.
Someone that does jiu-jitsu.
He's not no belt.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. I mean, I think you can.
If I taught you jiu-jitsu, would you learn anything?
No.
Exactly.
Right.
He would learn he needs another coach.
Point for me and Steve.
But do you guys think they
negative points for Jimmy?
Do you need to be actively hard charging wholesaling right now to coach a newbie? I don't think so.
It's who don't wholesale. They at least have to have wholesaled at some point in time.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't say former wholesaler. I think but this is why I answered within context, right? Because the truth of the matter is, I can say this as a marketer because I've seen people do it to myself. What people actually do is people just buy other people's courses because they can afford to, and they just teach other people because they're better marketers what they've learned in somebody else's course who's not as good of a marketer. This happens all day, every single day. And that the transfer of information doesn't mean the information has become less because it's being regurgitated by somebody else. Often the person who's the better marketer can regurgitate it better than the person that originated it.
So
I would only disagree.
I'm torn.
I would only disagree because of the nuance, right? Like, okay, but what about this situation? You've got no context, no qualification to explain about nuances, right? You can regurgitate the information in a course, but there's a difference between a course and coaching, right? A course, you got this information and it's this. Coaching is like, hey, I've experienced this, but I've also experienced 10 different variations of this. So if you've got a nuance,
I agree with that as a coach. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. But I also think it's based on who can convey the message appropriately, right?
CJ, I got breaking news for you. Tell me your immediate thoughts, how you feel, okay? The Washington Commanders just hired Doc Rivers to be their coach. How do you feel?
Man, it's a completely different sport.
No, it's not. Exactly.
You know what? I think it'd be an interesting experiment. I would love Doc Rivers is a good leader, a leader of athletes, a leader of men. Give him 6 months. Give him like Ted Lasso. Give him a technical expert. Did
we just get a Ted Lasso?
I was with Jimmy and just a little bit until then. No, I'm not going to pick up Doc Rivers
Doc Rivers for the Commanders. I can get behind this.
I would
I don't know that I'm going with
that.
Technical
expert as my offensive defensive coordinator.
I'm not saying look, to be clear, I'm not saying if you've never wholesaled a deal before, you should not be coaching. You should not be selling courses. You should not be doing any of that.
I'm glad you came full circle there. And also because the last part of that question is going to be, and you're the quarterback. You're the face of the organization. That's your coach.
No, to be clear, I don't think somebody should coach that's never done a deal before.
Okay.
What I am also at the same time saying I think people can coach from where they're at to Jimmy's point, right? Like when I talk to Brewer's got, he's got a lot going on, right? He's doing all sorts of stuff. He's crazy detailed with it, all those sorts of things. That's only going to apply to maybe 20% of the wholesale population at the moment. There's 80% there that are nowhere near that, and they may not even desire to go there. Right. So
Right.
Brewer's got to attack. He's got to market to a very small segment of the population. And I think sometimes in these conversations, and I'm saying this to somebody that's been in this conversation before, right? I think sometimes in these conversations, we all speak from where we're at, not from where people are actually at. And the person that's just coming off the street that's trying to make some extra money, they could go driving for dollars. Bro, you don't have to be a brainiac to tell somebody how to drive for dollars. I mean, it's pretty simplistic,
Right? But they
and
just
can
get
be
that
described,
online.
and somebody can make money doing it.
Right, but they can
CJ
get all that
sounds
information
like-
from YouTube.
CJ sounds like one of those closers on the Closers Olympics that's lost the seller, and now he's just talking.
Nah,
in
but see, hold
circles.
on. This is why I
Trying to
said,
reel it back, baby.
no,
Come
no,
on.
hold on. This is why I said Jimmy had a good answer. Because what Jimmy said, I've had more coaching students than probably everybody up here. Here's what I can say: coaching is about creating accountability. That is coaching. That's literally what coaching is about. It's not about the information being free on YouTube or anything like that. It's people need accountability, and they seek that in a coach, right? So I think that can be provided in different contexts, depending on where somebody's at.
And then
Right,
a
but they have to
coach
fully
who's-
disclose that they're a business coach, not a wholesale coach.
Well, I started off by saying I agree about the disclosure 100%.
But like, here's maybe a better question: if you have a wholesaling business, it's
You already
the
lost,
top- If you have a wholesaling business, where you're doing like 300 deals a year, can you be a good coach?
Can you?
Yes.
Yes. Will you? Who knows?
Can you be a good coach to newbies, or will you be tearing your hair out because you have to teach so much blocking and tackling?
Can't argue with that.
Depends on the person. Totally depends on the person. Potter,
I can't wait.
you might
to
not
see
have the patience
Potter's
for it, but you could
socialist
teach a brand new guy.
judging on
You could
this.
teach a brand new realtor, Potter.
I'm in the
You're doing 300
process
deals
of
a year.
actually doing that.
Yeah, so you can do it. Will you commit to doing it long term? Probably not.
Okay, I kind of feel seen and or attacked right now. So thanks, Steve. Always
You're welcome.
great connecting with you.
You asked for this, Steve.
I did.
Because the
But-
quitting, what I've seen in TG is the quitting ratio of coaches is as high as the quitting ratio of students. Steve, how many people you've seen start a coaching program, it lasts 9 months, are like, oh, that was the worst experience of my life?
That's because they don't know how to market.
I don't know.
You know
how
why
many
people
have
say that,
quit.
Jimmy?
Why?
Because they don't have students. They don't know how to actually go get students. They don't know how to actually market correctly.
Or maybe they're high performers but poor coaches.
Well, they could be poor coaches too, but most of them can't get enough students in the door for it to make any money to keep spending money on marketing.
Oh, who's
So they
splitting
abandon
hairs now? Come on.
No, it's the
Take
truth.
control, Potter.
No, Jimmy's right though. People
Episode 2
start
of splitting hairs.
people start coaching businesses all the time, and they make the automatic assumption because they have this great, big, magnificent wholesale business that they automatically will be a great wholesaling coach and a great person that people are going to want to learn wholesaling from. And I think Jimmy's point is that the likeliness of that happening for most people is very slim.
Jimmy didn't have a point.
Man, we went way off the
Jimmy, I'm
rails
trying
there.
not to let him do you like that, man.
Hey.
But
I mean, I'll speak up for Potter. Jimmy, you're awarded 2 points. Next question.
There we go. Perfect.
Thank you for bringing those thought-provoking questions to the community.
I will say this as well. Shout out to Larry in the chat. This is a great one. Newbies aren't hiring coaches for accountability. They're hiring for a process and how to do it. That's his thought on that. That being
Now,
said,
you can give a newbie the greatest process on earth, and if they're not held accountable, they won't do it.
see, and that is the conundrum we find ourselves in. It's almost like which one came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, it really honestly is. All right. Just
Give me
because
2 points. Next question. Okay, dude.
all right, Manny, -4 points for Jimmy. We're going to start there. Sarcastic Steve didn't get the memo that he's not supposed to come at me. I will say this, RJ, I do agree with what you're saying. Like, I look at it this way. Would you want Steve to teach you how to do a short sale? Hell no. Absolutely not. Even though he runs around here claiming that he's a short sale guru. I don't know. It's absolutely disrespectful.
I got like 2 of them done.
And yeah, because of me. Or were those the 2 you tried before me?
Yeah, I got 2 of them done before you. And then all my other ones got done because I saw how much that sucked.
Fantastic. That's what I'm here for. Hey, real quick, I have an announcement from another one of our sponsors. This one is this part of Pardon the Disruption is sponsored by the Family Tree of Real Broker. If you are looking to make a change in your real estate business, check out therealfamilytree.com and schedule your collaboration call with us today. We will help you grow your real estate business. All right, next up, we have question number 5. This one is probably one of the most thought-provoking questions we've ever had on the show. I'm extremely excited for this. We put a lot of thought into this one. Here we go. With RJ Bates III winning the Closers Olympics, does that mean that anybody can get into wholesaling? Go ahead and start us off, RJ Bates. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as long as I get a coach that holds me accountable, I'm fine. I don't need a system. I don't need a process. I don't need to understand anything. Just I need Jimmy the Bull up my ass every single day saying, you're being held accountable to nothing because I didn't teach you marketing. I didn't teach you closing. You don't know what a fucking assignment is, but you're being held accountable.
Now, if you're interested in this program, it's jimmyvreeland.com/accountability. It's only a $25,000 product. Let's go get some results, guys.
This is how you end up in the chat. Type in what's the MOA, and when you ask people what's your ARV, like, all right, bro, get you a coach. Accountability.
Oh man, that's absolutely outstanding and brutal. We appreciate it. All right, CJ, it's your turn, man. Let's go.
Here's what I realized from Closers Olympics. I hope all my students watching can hear me say this too. I firmly believe wholeheartedly with everything in my being that if RJ Bates III could get on a phone with a random individual across America and shout at them and bully them into selling them a house in 90 seconds, that certainly anybody could do it. Anybody should do it. I left Closers Olympics feeling motivated and inspired by RJ. I said to myself, well, damn, this guy's talking to people. He has no rapport. All right. He has no identification to whatever pain this person's in. And frankly, he doesn't even care. All right. He doesn't know why they're motivated. He doesn't know why they're motivated to sell. He just knows they want to, timeline. They're on his timeline. He's not on theirs. So I think anybody could do it. I do. After I saw, before that, I'd say, I don't know. But after that, I went to sleep that night. I did. I went to sleep that night. I wrote in my journal, and it's crazy. I wish I had brought it with me. I'd show you. I said, if RJ could do it, God damn it, anybody could do it. Because if that's closing, well, hell, I mean, what are we talking about, man? Practice? Are we talking about practice?
Oh no, he went practice on us.
Shout out to RJ, man. I said anybody could do this shit, man. Shout out to RJ, man.
I love RJ. Anything longer than 60 days, I don't know. I can't give you an offer on that. We're gonna have to close this one up 45 days. Let's go. All right, Steve. What are your thoughts? Anybody wholesaling?
Watching RJ close, I would say, yeah, right. But it's not against RJ. It's not against RJ because RJ
respectfully and Steve, I'm sorry to be clear. We're saying all this respectfully. All right, this is said with all due respect.
Fuck off.
Yeah,
respectfully.
I mean, like respectfully, right? Like RJ is a man in his own league, right? Like what he did was impressive. He closed the deal on Saturday, closed the deal on Sunday, right? He closed the deal on Saturday and then set up his appointment on Sunday to close that game, right? Like that was a masterful stroke of work, right? But with all that being said, there were a lot of leads that were closable. Look, I've talked to RJ after Close Olympics twice. I was like, hey, those deals you're closing, tell me more about them, right? We're having conversation internally about buying deals nationwide because RJ made it look so easy, right? And so my point here is this. RJ is a good closer. He's closing a good chunk of these. A less good closer can close these leads. These leads are not that expensive. So I think that truthfully, after watching Closers Olympics, I've been saying for a while, running a wholesaling business like being the Miami Heat against the Nuggets, you got to run a solid operation to be a functional wholesaler to run a good operation. After watching Closers Olympics this past week, I was like, man, really, anybody get into this? So yes, anybody can wholesale.
I love that RJ is the inspiration for everybody. That's absolutely let's be real. Like, who doesn't love that? All right, Jimmy, what are your thoughts? Is everybody wholesaling because of Mr. RJ Bates the third?
Yeah, I believe anybody can wholesale as long as they go to jimmyvreeland.com/accountability, 25 grand, and allow me to hold you accountable.
What I want to ask is a pivot off of this question. Can anyone with 25,000 or more Instagram followers close a deal? That's what I want to know. That's my real question after Closers Olympics.
Ooh.
Shots fired there. Some shots fired. Why don't we elaborate, RJ? What does that mean?
I'm just saying. I mean, I saw
I got a hard stop at 2:30. I love you guys.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Talk to you later.
We'll see you, Jimmy.
Peace out. Congratulations on the win.
That's the best concession speech I've heard. That's the best concession speech I've heard in 3 years. But I gotta say, RJ is a good closer. In all seriousness, he is a good closer because he's found his own unique style. If I'm RJ and I don't know his team, if I'm RJ, I would be trying to build not a team of me's, but a team of people that have the skill set that I may not have. And I don't know that RJ doesn't necessarily have it. He just may not have the patience. But, having a team, like somebody behind RJ with a strong follow-up ability that can build rapport, can maintain those conversations without, beating the result out of somebody, I think is a good compliment to what he's got going on. I mean, but RJ's proven himself, 3 years, I think, in a row. And I'm counting the first year, even though I don't think he won the first year. But I mean, RJ's a beast, to be able to get on a phone call with somebody and break them down that fast and move them towards a result, to hear somebody be able to get somebody to the same tonality as them, quickly and often is impressive. So RJ deserves his flowers for that, for sure.
I will say this.
Definitely.
I think anybody can wholesale. I do think that's the case. And I think
100%.
The biggest takeaway from the Closers Olympics should be that if you're yourself, then that's where you have success. Munif doesn't try to be anybody else but Munif, and he's finished second 2 years in a row. And I don't try to be anybody else but myself. And I think there's a trend there where you see everyone else maybe has a little bit more of a scripted tactic. They have lines that they use. Me and Munif are very organic. We're all about being ourselves and trying to solve the people's problem in our own unique way. And that's what leads to our success. So if you do that, then yes, you can be successful at this. I think if you try to script things out, lie and deceive, manipulate, be mental manipulation games where you're saying, let me check with my finance officer and all these other things, that's where it gets a little bit right.
All right. You were right until you were wrong. All right. So you were right there, man. Like, you were right, and I'm like, damn, like, he's right. I love that.
It never works, bro.
I know, you just always mess it up, man. But no, it's okay. But so what I was agreeing with what you were saying, all right, because I love the finance manager thing. But what I was agreeing with you about, to RJ's point, you have to have the ability to make things conversation. All right, I don't think you should shotgun it without a script or structure. And I don't agree with that at all. You should. But it's about making things conversation. I remember when I did your podcast back in 2020. When I went to do your podcast, I'm like, I just want to have a conversation with the guy. Like, I don't want to be interviewed. I don't want to feel like it's just we're kicking the ball back and forth to each other. Like, it's just two people talking, having a conversation about the journey, about the process. If you can get on the phone with sellers and just have conversations, and RJ displayed that. If you can just get on the phone and have a conversation and understand these people are normal, regular people too, yes, anybody can be a wholesaler.
So I disagree with what RJ said a moment ago. I want to say, right, because like RJ was like, easily like the third best closer in the first year, and then the best in the second years 2 and 3. So I mean, I want to give him like massive applause here, but I don't want to say that be yourself is a great formula, because most people themselves is not going to be able to build a connection with the homeowner, right? Like most people cannot naturally build that connection. And then the other thing too, I think RJ is not giving himself enough credit. There's some stuff that he does really well that other people weren't, right? He has a process. It's not a conventional process, but he has a process.
100%.
He is building rapport, not the way I would build rapport. I'm not talking about the 6-pack I'm drinking right now, but he's building rapport. He's disqualifying prospects. One of the things I saw where a lot of people failed, where they were trying to convince a prospect with RJ's like, hey, look, I'm not going to be your buyer. So there's a lot of things RJ does really well that he's not giving himself enough credit, because he's saying just be RJ because he's RJ. He's being the best version of RJ. It's not being the best version of RJ. It's being an RJ with a process.
My thoughts on that, Steve, are the reason why people are not good at being themselves is because they never attempt it. They think that they're not going to be able to be me or Munif, and so they have to go out and be something else, and people read through that. They see through it. We see it every Closers Olympics. We watch people try to do these games and be something that they're not, when it's like in real life, you're a likable person, and it fails over and over and over again. And that's why
I would say they're not committed enough to their craft. Chris was talking about practice earlier. Those people that come across as scripted, it's because they're not committed to their craft.
Then why not be committed to practicing becoming a better you?
People are lazy.
I
I
mean,
look, people are lazy, man. I think cold calling is a skill set. A lot of people just, and I hate saying cold calling is a skill set. Sales is a skill set. Conversation is a skill set. Most people just don't want to learn it. They want to get to the result faster than they get through the process.
Or they're not coachable.
Or they're not coachable. And they got to learn from somebody who's never done a deal before.
Jimmy V, sign up for his accountability program.
Slash accountability.
Shout out to
disruptors from my affiliate code.
Shout out to Vreeland Accountability.
Jimmy
dude.
V. / appreciation in St. Louis. There you go.
/ market correction. All right. So took this one to the chat just because it's amazing. CJ apparently sent a text blast out to the U. He's got people in there now. They're voting for him, which leads us to a 3-way tie going into our 6th question, which I'm excited about. You guys better all answer this one correctly, because if you don't, I'm never inviting you back, or I'm just going to disconnect your video feed. I'm looking at you, RJ Bates, the 3rd. All right, 6th question. What criteria should realtors look for when joining a brokerage? Go ahead and start us off, CJ.
I've never had my real estate license, but if I was a realtor who was going to join a brokerage, what I would be looking for would be training, and I wouldn't be looking for traditional realtor training. I would be looking for direct to seller training from realtors. I am literally shocked at how many realtors prance around on social media at conferences, and they all have this one magical word, and it's referral. And they just shout it out, and they talk about sphere of influence and your circle, and referral, and post on Facebook about your open house and the cookies you bought for it. And it's weird. It's strange. It's weird. It's not a way to build a real business quickly with intent. It's strange that people do this. And so I would be looking for a brokerage that understood that businesses are about processes and systems, and that you can go out and actually acquire customers, and that you can develop a plan in which you will acquire customers that's workable, that you can implement. And I, all due respect to all realtors, I mean, how many times do you want to hear the Brian Buffinis of the world say, you got to get referrals. You got to get referrals. Get somebody to refer you. Look at Susie over here, Potter. She got 100 referrals last month. Oh my God. Like, it's weird. It's weird. Like, you can create predictable business, and you can go actually make things happen. So that's the broker I'd be looking for. Maybe they only exist over at Real. Shout out to Real.
That's my guy.
He's looking for a referral only broker. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna get licensed and just go ahead and hang it for referrals, bro. That's how we're gonna do it.
Refer me, bro. Refer me.
Absolutely. Hey, anybody looking in Richmond, VA? We got CJ. He's gonna be out there doing an open house with the chocolate chip cookies.
Subway cookies, man.
Absolutely.
On the platter. Subway cookies on the platter for the open house, man.
All right, Steve. What about you?
Oh man, it's gonna pay me to say this because this is gonna go back to the answer earlier where we disagreed about the coaching component. So I'm looking for somebody that can meet me where I'm at, right? So where am I today? What do I want to accomplish, right? What kind of business am I doing today? And here's where I want to go. Can you help me get to where I want to go? So I want a brokerage that can help me accomplish my goals. I don't want a one size fits all. I don't want a brokerage that promises to be everything to everybody. I want a brokerage that cares exactly what I'm trying to do, understands where I'm weak, understands where I can use some help and some support, and help me get to where I want to go, right? So I'm not looking for, again, a one-size-fits-all. I'm looking for someone that can actually coach me because they're actually in the business and have a process that I can replicate.
So you're actually looking for somebody that's doing it to coach you. Got it. Seems to be some kind of theme today. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to King Closer over here. I see him. He's got his head down. He's like, geez, why do I got to answer
He wants referrals.
this shit? He wants referrals, bro. All of them. Let's
Refer me.
That's right. All right, RJ, what are your thoughts?
Man, I'm so glad we get to end the day with a question about realtors. One of my favorite topics. As if they weren't worthless enough for just pushing paper. At some point in time, a couple of years ago, we said, what could make realtors even worse? And all of the brokerages decided, let's give them long-term stock benefits and let's make it. What's worse than a realtor? An MLM. Let's make it multi-level marketing where they don't even have to sell real estate. They can sell other realtors. So if I'm a realtor, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, hey, where can I stack up, make this long-term passive income? I don't even do real estate anymore. I'm just bringing on other people. And occasionally, I'll get one of those 5% of the realtors that actually do real estate, and then I make money off of it. So that's what I'm looking for.
I don't think that RJ read the judging room very well. Just going to throw that one out there.
I threw in the towel on today's episode, bro.
Bro, why? Like literally, it's a 3-way tie, man. Like, and you're coming off of one of the greatest defending of a title.
And you brought up realtors. I
didn't. It was the question of today.
I have morals and standards and ethics. Okay, I have
RJ, can I ask you a question?
You'd be a good realtor.
Yeah, you'd be a great realtor.
Why do brokers? You know what I wouldn't look for in a broker? The broker that acts like they're a coach.
Ooh.
This is the carrot that brokers dangle on people. I see it all the time. It's just insane. They're like, oh, if you come over here, I'm going to train you. We got a virtual academy. We got all this information. I'm going to come sit you at a computer and I'll mentor you. You know what they're really telling you? Hey, come pay the broker fee, man. Come bring me some referrals. They love referrals. Come bring me some referrals.
Yeah, bro. That got $16,000 a year, baby.
That was
me. Yeah, listen, CJ. We got a desk fee. Steve, you remember the desk fee back in the day? Hey, we got a desk fee here. All right.
So don't forget to do your floor time 2 hours a day, bro.
Hey, 2023, the desk fee has become this is your deal fee. Every deal you close, we're gonna charge you $4.95. All right. But if you come over here, I'll coach you, I'll mentor you. Then you get over there, and what does the coaching look like? They're like, oh, wait, you'll do this open house. All right. I want you to get some cookies from Subway, but don't put the Subway packaging on it. Get a little platter from Kroger. All right. Throw it on there. Get some napkins, some red cups. All right. Put one of those little lemonade juice containers on the counter.
There we go. The lemonade.
People are going to come in, and this is what I'm going to let you do. We're going to put a name sheet on the counter when people can sign in when they come in the open house, and those are your referrals.
CJ, listen, bro, listen. I've got so many people that want to sign up for EXP, that I will refer to you the people that want to sign up because I can't even take those calls anymore.
Oh man, you know how it is, man. RJ, you know how it is, man. I'm gonna refer them over to you. You're in my downline.
Yeah, bro.
So I'm gonna win anyway. You get
you
get the most of the credit. What's up?
Yeah, stocks, lemonade, chocolate chip cookies, and referrals.
Bro, you got
look, and I know you guys are realtors. Realtors might
like an
be
anti-realtor crowd.
Realtors might be the biggest RICO that exists, man. Literally. Shout out to NAR, by the way. All right, hold on, wait a second. Shout out to NAR. Shout out to all the lobbyists on Capitol Hill right now fighting hard against wholesaling. All right, shout out to you guys because I'm saying this with respect. All right, saying it with respect. But
I feel that the respect might be lacking.
With respect, if the realtors did any marketing, then wholesalers wouldn't have a job. Just saying.
Well, I don't know if everybody wants to talk about that because that's true.
I mean, maybe.
Imagine if wholesalers weren't in the ecosystem and all you had was a realtor that would come into your house and make you believe it was worth more than it really was. Like, how many times, RJ, in 50 days and 50 nights, how many people did you get? They got on the phone and said, well, my realtor told me my house was worth 200,000.
Let me tell you, bro. What I told them is it's real hard out there for them realtors right now, okay? They're lying to you, bro. They need that listing so damn bad.
Straight
and they price drop you by 75,000 after 2 weeks.
Yeah, part of it feels.
Was that NAR that came up with the? No, wait. Was it NAR that came up with the listing agreement, the written listing agreement, representation agreement? Now I got you for 12 months. I played you. I got you to sign your deal with me. I told you could get 200,000. Now it's been 180 days on market. Your eyes are bleeding. You're going crazy. Guess what?
Here's the one thing I'll say. You guys are judging realtors.
Bring it home,
the worst
Steve.
Realtors in the industry, right? It's like if I were to judge CJ and RJ for someone that wears really nice, fancy boots, right? Like if I was to judge an entire wholesaling industry by someone that wore some Prince boots or drove some Lamborghinis, right? It's unfair. So you guys are judging all the realtors by the worst.
Steve. This is like common realtor practice. I think they teach it in the school.
Bro.
Listen, stop, guys. Let's be honest.
CJ and RJ out here just taking shots right now.
RJ, tell him, man.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, bro. You hear that?
Dude, realtors are hilarious, man. And how many realtors in Arizona have done a single transaction in the last 12 months?
Dude, it's something atrocious. It's like 4,800 out of like 80,000 that are licensed.
So that's our point, bro.
No, hey, look. I'm not.
You got 75,000 people. You know what they're doing, Potter?
Collecting them rev shares, bro.
Sitting around waiting on a referral.
They waiting to hold an open house, baby.
Bro.
No, dude, they're waiting on Jamil Danji to call them and say, "Hey, bro, you want to bring me them wholesale deals?" DTA, baby.
Oh man, shout out to Jamil though. Like, let's be real. Absolutely. Okay, so here's the thing. Number one, I feel slightly seen during this last round. I'm not sure how I feel about it. RJ clearly needs to realize that he needs to just talk to the real side over here. I appreciate CJ throwing the real shout out in there. I do appreciate that. But based on the fact that you guys were absolutely offensive to me and Steve, absolutely brutal. Now, it might be on technicality. The point is being awarded to Steve, and he is going to win King Realtor, Short Sale Guru, Steve Trang over in the other office. Wow. I can't believe that this just happened. And like I teed it up for y'all.
Olympics.
Like I teed it up for y'all. Like I don't even know. All right. On an unrelated note, thank you to everybody for tuning in on the new Pardon the Disruption YouTube channel. Go like it, subscribe it, get in the chat. We got a bunch of people in there today. We're excited about it. We're going to go ahead and head out. Hey, Jimmy, go ahead and say bye to the people. I'll buy anything. All right, cool. Next up, we got Steve, our champion. Go ahead and say bye to the people.
Yeah, Steve Trang, great episode. There was a little bit of contention, some feelings, some things were said. I think, can't be unsaid. We'll just have to review the tape later on. We are looking for someone to replace RJ. So if you guys know anyone in DFW, let us know. But again, fun times always. Looking forward to hanging out with these guys. See you guys next week.
Just so you know, I have heard great things about. There's a gal down there named Cassie. I don't know. Maybe we
Cassie,
could get
the
her
real
on the
MVP.
show. The real MVP. That's right. Absolutely. RJ, King closer. Say bye to the people.
Guys, I don't know if you know this or not, but every morning Steve Trang walks into the bathroom, looks right in the mirror, and says, "Steve, you're going to be great today." No, you're not. And then he walks out, and that's how he starts his day. Congrats, Steve. You finally won a Pardon the Disruption. I actually wrote it down. The last time you won was November 18th, 2022, and it's your own damn show. Congratulations.
Wow. I don't know about that. We may have to we may have to review the footage.
All right, I'll reach out to Cassie, see if she wants to be in his spot.
Yeah. Last, certainly not least, CJ, say bye to the people.
Peace and love. Shout out to all the realtors. Shout out to NAR. All right. I was just kidding. I'm playing. I like you guys a lot. All right. Look, I'm out. Have a great day. Steve, congrats on the win. It's Thursday. There's no class tonight. But go get yourself a coach, whoever it is. Go get yourself a coach and some accountability. All right. I'm out.
Absolutely. And don't forget Subway cookies on a Kroger tray.
Come on, man. Come on. You listen.
Hey, you know that's how you're getting referrals,
Kroger
baby.
Tray? Come on, bro. You know the open house special, man. It's in the realtor kit at Kroger, man.
All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in this week. We will see you guys next week. Hope you had as much fun as we did. See you later.